Good morning, boys and girls. How are you today? I've really missed teaching you and I hope you are excited for today's Letterland lesson. I know it is one of my favorites and one that I'm really excited to teach. So let's jump straight into it and see who we will be learning about today. Alright, on the side of the screen next to me there will be a page appearing. If you look carefully at the page, what picture can you see on the page? I know I can see a king. I know it's a king because he is wearing king's clothing. Can you see his crown and his cape? But if you look carefully, look at his feet. When you look at his feet, what do you see? I see that he is wearing soccer boots. A king wearing soccer boots is rather unusual, but I can see he's using those soccer boots to kick the soccer ball. Now, not all countries have a king, but Letterland does. This is Letterland's king, and he is a kind king. He loves to play soccer, and he can kick that soccer ball further than anybody else in his kingdom. He practices his kick in lots and lots of words. We call him Kicking King. So today we will be learning all about Kicking King. Now, it's important to know that when we are learning to read, there are only a few words that will begin with Kicking King at the start. Not a lot of words have Kicking King at the start because there's not much room for him to practice his kicks. So there's not a lot of words with him at the start or at the middle, but a lot of words end with Kicking King's letter because then he has lots of room to practice his kicking. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Kicking King's sound. We know that when we were learning about some of our other Letterlanders, if we wanted to know the sound they made, we just had to say the Letterland name really slowly. So when we practice saying Kicking King, we can hear that kicking starts with K and king starts with K, and you will feel that sound at the back of your throat as you say it. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice Kicking King's sound because we know he says K in words. We're going to practice it 3 times together and then sing a song to help us practice his sound as well. So let's practice it together the first time, K, second time, K, and third time, K. Kicking King says K in words. K, K, K. Now we're going to sing his song to help us practice the sound he would make in a word.
Kicking King says K in words, in words, in words. Kicking King says K in words as he kicks along. Kicking King says K in words, in words, in words. Kicking King says K in words as he kicks along. Kicking King says K in words, in words, in words. Kicking King says K in words as he kicks along. Kicking King says K in words, in words, in words. Kicking King says K in words as he kicks along.
Well done, boys and girls. I am so proud of you for practicing the song that will help us to learn Kicking King's sound is K in words. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at his letters, his lowercase and uppercase letters. So first we're going to look at his lowercase letter. This is Kicking King's lowercase K, and he is straight like a stick. He has a small arm and a small leg, so he can kick in words, yes. Now, when he wants to change into a capital letter, when he wants to change into his big letter to start important words, his uppercase letter. What he does is he does what other Letterlanders do. He takes a deep breath in and he changes into his capital letter. Now, can you see the difference between these two pictures? In this one, he is the small K. In this one, he is the big capital uppercase letter. And you can see that his body is still straight like a stick, but his arm and his leg are longer. They are longer to show that he is starting an important word. Now, over the past few weeks, we've discussed that capital letters don't only start the beginning of a sentence, but they also start names, because names are really, really important. And I know that we have a few boys and a girl in yellow group in grade R whose names start with Kicking King's capital letter. And I'm going to put a piece of paper up on the screen next to me. Let's see if you can recognize your name, if your name starts with Kicking King's capital letter. I know that we have a Caleb in grade R, Caleb in grade R, and a Caleb in yellow group, Caleb Nell in yellow group. So two of them, and they both start with Kicking King's capital letter. Then I also know that we have Cara. We have Cara in Auntie Christine's class. We have Koa, and we have Katelo. So all of these children are really important in today's lesson because their names start with Kicking King's capital letter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to watch two videos that help us practice Kicking King's letter formation. One will teach us a rhyme to help us practice the correct formation when writing it, and the other one will show us how to write it correctly. Let's do that now.
Kicking King's body is a straight stick, at his arm, then his leg, so he can kick. Kicking King's body is a straight stick, at his arm, then his leg, so he can kick.
Well done, boys and girls. It's really important that you keep practicing the correct letter formation for the capital letter K and the lowercase k even after the lesson is over. Make sure that you are learning how to write it correctly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to read a story all about Kicking King. So let's see what today's story is called, and I want you to listen really carefully and see how many words you can hear that begin with this K sound. Today's story is called Kicking King and His Socks. I wonder what this could be about. Kicking King lives with Quarrelsome Queen in the Letterland castle. He's one of the kindest men you will ever meet. He has to be to keep the peace, living with such a quarrelsome queen. Kicking King likes nothing better than kicking a soccer ball around. That's why he's called Kicking King. When he goes into words, he makes a K sound. Can you hear it in words like key, K, key, K, kettle, and K, kitchen? I can even hear it in K, king. There are even kittens in the basket. Look again and see if you can spot the kittens. It was the final game of the Letterland Soccer Championships, and Kicking King and his team were keen to win the cup. Kicking King was in the kitchen packing his soccer kit. His top, shorts, pads and boots were all in his kit bag. But where were his socks? "Have you seen my socks?" he said to the Queen, who was quietly sewing her quilt. "There are some socks with pink spots on them by the kettle," she said. "Take them." So he still has bare feet because he's looking for his socks. "But I have a lucky kicking sock. I need my red and yellow socks," he said in a big panic. "Nonsense," she said. "There's no such thing as a lucky sock. Socks cannot do tricks or win games. Just take the pink socks," she said. The clock was ticking and Kicking King had to set off. So he had to go to the match without his lucky kicking sock. Oh, look at his poor face. He doesn't look happy at all. The Letterland team had come out onto the pitch. Monkey, the mascot, was at the front and the team followed on behind him. Clever Cat was the captain. Kicking King was a striker with Sammy Snake. Munching Mike was in the middle. Dippy Duck was in defense. And Golden Girl was always a great goalkeeper. Look at them all on the sports field. The match started and the crowd roared. Kicking King has such a strong kicking leg that he is always a top scorer. But today he felt weak. His leg was not sticking out strongly and by half-time he hadn't scored a single goal. What was worse was that the other team had scored a goal. The Letterlanders sat down while they had their half-time snack. Talking Tess told them to stick together and keep trying, but Kicking King felt sad. Over the noise of the crowd, he heard a voice he knew very well. "Let me through quickly," the voice demanded. Quarrelsome Queen had come onto the pitch holding a small packet. She handed it to the king. "I found these in the kitten's basket," she said. Kicking King opened the packet and looked inside. It was his lucky sock. "How kind," he said, giving her a big kiss. "Now put that sock on and kick like you have never kicked before," she said. The team ran back out to play the second half of the match. Kicking King felt strong. His leg was sticking out straight. He kicked the ball hard and before long he had scored a goal and the crowd cheered. He skidded but picked himself up again. Dippy Duck was defending well. Then Clever Cat got a corner kick. She carefully kicked the ball to the king and smack! He kicked it into the back of the net and scored another goal. The final whistle blew and Letterland had won the match. Sammy Snake skipped. Oscar jumped on top of the podium. Clever Cat lifted the cup and Kicking King blew a kiss to his lucky kicking sock. Well, I don't know about you, but I sure am happy that that story had a happy ending for Kicking King, and that Quarrelsome Queen was also really kind, and even after he had left for a soccer match, she carried on looking for his lucky sock and she found it and she took it to him. That was really, really kind of her. Alright, now what we're going to do is on the side of the screen next to me there will be a piece of paper appearing and we're going to look at a few words that begin with Kicking King's sound. Now if we look at the piece of paper, the first word that appears on the piece of paper is the word kid. K-id. Kid. Yes, kid. The second word is k-ix. Kiss. Kiss. When Quarrelsome Queen brought Kicking King his sock, he gave her a big kiss and said thank you. The third word is kind. Kind. It was very kind of Quarrelsome Queen to carry on looking and to bring him his lucky sock, knowing how much he needed it. The fourth word is key. K-e. Key. Do you have a key to open the door? Key. And the fifth and last word is keep. K-e-p. Keep. Well done, boys and girls. Right now, something we've spoken about over quite a few of our past lessons is how when two of the same letter are next to each other in a word and they share the same sound. And we've learned that that is the case when we have Dippy Duck and Diana Duck sitting next to each other in a word, they share the same D sound. And when Firefighter Fred and Firefighter Frank stand next to each other in a word, they share the same F sound. And it is the same with Golden Girl and Golden Granny. Together in a word, they share the same G sound. We also learned about Sally Snake and Sammy Snake sharing the same S sound when they are next to each other. Noisy Nick and Noisy Nicola sharing the same N sound. And we learnt about Munching Mike and Munching Maria. And when they are next to each other in a word, they share the same M sound. Now, if you were listening carefully when I told you what sound Kicking King makes, can you remember it? Yes, he says K in words. But if you were listening extra carefully in class, you would know that Clever Cat also makes a K sound. So now we know Clever Cat and Kicking King share the same K sound. But their letters are not written the same way, are they? No. Okay, so what happens when we see Clever Cat and Kicking King next to each other in a word, now that we know they share the same K sound? Let's read the story to help us find out. Just like I told you, Clever Cat and Kicking King share the same K sound. When they are next to each other, like you can see on the picture, they say their sound at exactly the same time, so it sounds like one sound, K. Kicking King likes to be at the end of words so that he has plenty of room to kick. Clever Cat sits just behind him so she can watch him kick. Here they are at the duck pond. Kicking King is kicking his ball back and forth to the boy with the rocket on his top. There are also two boys on a cycle track coming back from the docks. I do hope Kicking King checks before he kicks. We don't want the ball to smack into the boys and knock them off their bikes. We don't want his ball to hit those little chicks either. Perhaps the girl with the bucket or the boy with the rucksack and ticket will run up and block the king's kick. But they will have to be quick. Alright, so when we looked at the picture that was on our screen, we saw Clever Cat and Kicking King sitting next to each other. And we know that when they are sitting next to each other, they're going to say their sound at the same time. So we're just going to hear the K sound. Alright, so on the screen now, appearing next to me will be a piece of paper, and we're going to look at a few words that have the ending with Clever Cat and Kicking King sitting next to each other. But remember, when we see Clever Cat and Kicking King, we just say the one K sound. So the first word on our piece of paper starts with B. Back. 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 When can we go back to school? Can you see Clever Cat and Kicking King sitting next to each other in the word and saying the K sound? Very good. The second word is duck. 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 Yes, can you hear how I am only pronouncing the K k sound once because they say they sound at the same time, so we only hear the k sound once. Very good. Then the third word is rock. What does that sound like to you? Rock. Rock. Yes, rock. Well done. The fourth word is sick. 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 And the fifth and final word is pack. 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 Don't forget to pack away your toys once you have finished playing with them. Well done, boys and girls. Alright, now at the end of every lesson I ask you to practice your letter formation, and it's really important that you go back to the letter formation part of the video and practice writing your letter correctly. And then I also want you to practice the sound King makes and practice sounding out words. Ask mom and dad to write down more words for you that either start with the K for King or they end with clever cat and King next to each other in a word, but sharing the one K sound. So keep on practicing really, really hard. We are so proud of you. Then for your fun activities after this lesson, you can kick a ball outside. If you have a nice big garden, go outside with your mom and dad or your brother and your sister and kick the ball around. And another fun thing you could do is you could decorate a crown and be the king in your house. Yes, and the third thing you could do is you could make your very own kite and wait for a windy day, go outside and fly your kite. And then the fourth and final thing that is really important, moms and dads, is that you take this opportunity to talk to your child about kindness, all about being kind. Well done, boys and girls, for watching the whole lesson. I am so proud of you. Bye.